Be strong.
So hello everyone, it's Cleo's here. Are you ready to get started? Let's get started. So hello everyone. Our lesson this week is Ruth chooses to stay with Naomi and is out of the book of Ruth, chapters 1 through 4. So I'm going to send you over to Miss Latoya for our memory verse and prayer, and I'll see you right back here in just a minute.
Welcome back. It's time for our memory verse. Hey. This week we're in the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 16. And I have 2 vocab words for you. Our first word is entreat. That means to ask someone to do something. So pleading with them to do something. For example, maybe you see this cool toy in the store and you want it so bad, and you ask your parent or guardian, Mom, Dad, Aunt, Uncle, cousin, can I get this toy? You're entreating them. You're asking them to do something. All right. Our second word is lodge. That means to stay somewhere or to stay in a different place other than your home. All right. So here's our verse. But Ruth said, entreat me not to leave you or turn back from following after you. For whatever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. That is the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 16. Join me next week for another verse and some words. Bye-bye. It's time to pray to start our lesson. Yep, you got it. Bow your heads, close your eyes. Here we go. Dear Lord, thank you for another Sunday to hear your word. Thank you for all the word that we heard this month for January. I pray that our children share one thing they learned this month with someone. Thank you for your continued blessings, your continued healings. Thank you for everything. Amen. All right, back to Miss Cleo for our lesson for today.
So welcome back everyone. As I said, our lesson this week is Ruth chooses to stay with Naomi and is out of the book of Ruth, chapters 1 through 4. Now last week our lesson was on Gideon's army of 300. Does anyone remember how did Gideon shrink his army to 300? There was something that God asked Gideon to do. God asked Gideon to take his men down to drink water. And from drinking water, it was going to be revealed who the men were that God would use for battle. What were the 2 ways that the men drank their water? One group of men got on all fours to drink the water, and the other group lapped the water up with their hands and drank the water like a dog. From the group that lapped it up and drank it out of their hands was 300, and those were the men that went along with Gideon. Did Gideon beat the Mennonites? He did with God's help. Now, our story this week is about a woman named Ruth. Ruth is a Moabite. She is not a woman from the children of Israel. She's actually from a nation that worship idols. But we're going to see how God uses her. And our theme is God is pleased when we show loyalty. What loyalty means is being with someone in good times and in bad times. And there's a lesson for us in this as well. So, I'm going to be reading this out of The Bible Made Easy for Kids by Dave Strehler. This is a beautiful story in the Bible, a sad story with a happy ending. Unlike all the other stories in the Bible, this really happened. In fact, there is a whole book in the Old Testament that tells the story of Ruth. The book is named after her. Ruth grew up in the country of Moab, which lay east of Judah. It was during the time that the judges, and there was a famine in Judah. Because there wasn't enough food there, some people packed up and went to live in Moab. So now remember, the time of the judges is when the children of Israel really didn't have a leader. And just like we saw with Gideon, the children of Israel would be attacked by some of the nations around them. They would cry out to God. God would raise up someone, and they would defeat this nation. So now, this is during this time. There's a famine. There's no food. And a lot of the children of Israel, I'll take that back. It's not a lot. We're just going to see where this one family right here left, and they went to Moab to get away from the famine. And this young lady they're going to meet, her name is Ruth. Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons were among those who went to live in Moab. After some time, the sons married women from Moab. One of them married Ruth. While they were living there, Naomi's husband died, and about 10 years later, both her sons died too. Naomi was heartbroken. She felt all alone in a land she had not grown up in. Now there wasn't even to be a grandchild to look after, so she decided to go back to Judah. Ruth wanted to go with her, but Naomi said, "Rather stay here in your own country and marry someone else." But Ruth pleaded with her and said, "I want your God to be my God, and I want your people to be my people." Now Ruth's husband has died, which was one of Naomi's sons. Naomi is going to go back now to her own land. Ruth wants to go back with her. Ruth is a young woman. She is now a widow, but she can go back and remarry. Naomi is telling her this, but she is telling Naomi, "You are my mother-in-law, and I am going to stay with you. Your people are my people, and your God will be my God." Eventually, Naomi was persuaded to let Ruth go back with her, and they set off on their journey together. Now the word persuaded means she was convinced in her heart that Ruth really wanted to go back with her. When they got to the town of Bethlehem in Judah, the people there recognized Naomi and welcomed her back. But Naomi said, "Don't call me Naomi, call me Mora," which means bitter, because that is the way she felt inside. Naomi had a husband and 2 sons. Her husband died, her 2 sons died. She is coming back and she's a widow. And a widow is a woman whose husband has died. Also, Ruth is a widow. Her husband has died. And it was hard for women at that time because their husbands used to provide for them. So this is why she's very bitter. It was harvest time, and Ruth said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field and pick up the grain that the workers have dropped." So she headed out and was soon working in a field that belonged to Boaz. Boaz happened to be the son of Rahab, who hid the spies in Jericho. A short time later, Boaz arrived, greeted the workers, and then asked them who the new woman was. They told him she had come from Moab with her mother-in-law, Naomi. So Boaz went to Ruth and said to her, "Don't go to any other field to pick up grain. Stay in this field." Boaz was kind to her and told the workers to pull some of the stalk from the bundles and leave it for her. Boaz, he is the son of Rahab. Rahab was the woman where the spies came into Jericho, and she hid them on her roof, the roof of her house. This is her son. Ruth was very grateful to him, And when she returned home and told Naomi about the kind man, Naomi realized that he was a relative of Elimelech. And so, until the end of harvest season, Ruth gathered grain from the field that belonged to Boaz. And she and Naomi had more than enough food to eat. One day, Naomi told Ruth to go to the threshing floor where Boaz worked in the evening. And when Boaz had gone to sleep, she said, "Go lie at his feet." So Ruth got herself ready and did what Naomi had told her. Now, lie at a person's feet at this time. That was kind of like a marriage proposal. She was kind of asking him to marry her because Naomi has just told Ruth, "This is a relative of my deceased husband." And at that time, when women husbands died and they had no offsprings, a relative would come in and marry their widow wife, and they would have children, and the children would take on the deceased husband's name to keep the name going on. So this is what Ruth is doing now with Boaz, because she found out he is really a relative. In the middle of the night, Boaz woke up and wondered who it was lying at his feet. When he realized it was Ruth, he was very happy and told her to lie there until morning. As soon as the sun came up, Boaz went to talk with the person whose duty it should have been to look after Naomi and Ruth because he was a close relative. The man agreed that Boaz could take over that duty, which meant he could also marry Ruth. And so Boaz and Ruth got married and had a son named Obed. Obed became the grandfather of King David. Many generations later, there was a man named Joseph, who was in the family line of Obed and Ruth. Joseph married Mary, who was the mother of Jesus. So now, in our hearts will have us decide what we're willing to give up and what we will do for other people. And love is a decision. Love is a decision that we can show to people who really don't love us, but we can love them through kindness. And we just saw what Ruth did for her mother-in-law, and how from Ruth, even though she is from another nation, that from this union with Boaz, we see it going to the line where Jesus comes out of this. Well, I hope you like that story. I'll see you again next week.
Be strong.